Hello, photographers! I gotta turn on the headphones. I can hear myself echoing in them over here, even though I'm not using them. How's everybody doing? Hello, Michael and Zara and Dean and Mike and Dave is here, and who else is here? Robert and Sandy. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How was your week? What you guys been up to? How do you like the purple shirt? What do you think? It's casual Friday, no suit coat today. That's going to be my new look, though, I think. I dig the suit coat look. Mike says, why when I look up YouTube online troubleshooting is just a photo of Spyros holding a wine glass? Oh, God, I should get a glass of wine. I could go for a glass of wine. It's probably a bad idea, though, because I haven't eaten anything today. So having a glass of wine right now would make me probably super drunk super fast. I was actually working on a video that I was editing, but I should actually edit to some photos. Edit to some photos? I can English good. I should actually edit some photos. Hey, Edith, how's it going? Did you do... Oh, Mark just asked me if I did my shoot yet for the theme. I did not this weekend. So, question for those of you who are participating. Who has already shot their Simplicity photo? The Simplicity photos are due this coming Monday. I have not. I'm going to be shooting mine this weekend, and I think I know what I'm going to shoot too. It's going to be inspired by Zara and I's new show, The Business Windup. So if you want to see that, make sure you tune in Monday for the Blab, and you'll see that there. Hello, S Squared Design Works. How's it going? How are you? How are you? Okay, so should I maybe edit some photos today? Should I maybe actually for real? Hello, Luis. How are you? I should shoot it this weekend, but I still have no idea how I'll tackle it. I think I'm honestly a little surprised that it seems like a lot of people are actually having some trouble with this theme, just kind of wrapping their heads around it. I myself thought it was fairly easy to kind of interpret, but that just kind of goes to show how everybody thinks differently about different things, and how something that seems so simple, haha, pun intended, can actually be not so simple to interpret or complicate. So yeah, I'm curious to see how you guys interpret the theme, but I think we're going to have some amazing photos. Sandy says, I have the one you saw with the piano, but not sure if I'll try another. You should definitely try another, Sandy. I'd love to see that. It took me a while to get an idea, Edith says. Nathan had a question. As you are a Mac user, did you buy AppleCare? Is that important? I am a Mac user. I did not buy AppleCare. That is a risk that I'm willing to take, and if I break something, I'll deal with that myself. And if something breaks on warranty, I'll deal with that myself, basically, is the way I look at it with AppleCare. So I don't pay for AppleCare. Other people do. Dave, do you use AppleCare? Do you pay for AppleCare with your stuff? Dave Dopel is here in the chat. In fact, you guys should check out Dave and Zara's channels. Let me grab those links for you. Zara is hanging here in the chat and editing photos that she has to have edited by 5. So she'll probably be more productive than I am, though. That's what I'm thinking anyway. S Squared Design Works says, I've got a few ideas that I've tried and a few more I want to try this weekend. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Doubt it. Zara, you're shopping. Okay, Zara, wait. What are you shopping for? You got to tell us what you're shopping for at least. Steve, how are you, buddy? Sitting at work, all done for the week, waiting 2 more hours to leave. I've been in that spot. Michael says, been a Mac user since 1984 and never had the need for AppleCare either. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Oh yeah, we were talking about that, Zara. She's shopping for shirts for the husband because he needs work clothes, so literally nothing fun. I get that. We're actually going to be doing a little bit of fun-er shopping this weekend. Tomorrow, is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. One of our local communities is having their community-wide grocery garage sale. So we're going to go and we'll see how long my wife lasts at these because she has a low tolerance for people. So we'll see how many garage sales we actually get to go to. But it should be fun. Hello, CyberDoc. Hey, Scott, how's it going? Scott says Apple Care is great when you transfer from PC to Mac. Interesting. Does Apple Care include some kind of transfer thing that isn't included otherwise? Let me find the channels that I'm trying to get you guys to go check out. Zara's. I should just have these saved as links. I'm gonna make. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a short link so that I never have to look these up again. Log in. I'm logging into Rebrandly right now so I can make a short link. It can answer questions you don't know. Oh, okay, I see. I suppose that would be useful. Should I edit some photos today, guys? This is super fun. I'm just trying to find... I think I might have already made one for you, Zara. Actually, I should look. Nope, it didn't. Okay, so I'm making a short link for your channel, Zara. If you ever want to use this link, you can use it yourself too. It's going to be shp.photo/Zara. So, you guys, you should go check out Zara's channel, YouTube channel. Go check out and subscribe to Zara's YouTube channel here. Thank you. And Dave's. I got to do Dave's. Can I edit yours? Dean, what are you editing? You said that before and I missed that. Editing some pet photos. Ooh, I like pet photos. I don't like taking pet photos because pet photos, you know, pets are all over the place. But I do like pets. Pets are super cute. Okay, I'm doing the cheat thing here and going to Dave's channel. Now I'm going to make you a short link too, Dave. Dave, is this the right channel that I should be linking to for you before I actually link to it? Because you've only got a couple videos up on there. But Dave, tell people what you're going to be doing on your channel. Mike says, I love garage sales. I get so many props for photo shoots. Yeah, that is a really good way to get cheap clothes and cheap props. The damn dog keeps moving. Exactly, right? Like, that's what happens. So, Dave, do you not want me to link to it right now? He's in the middle of a revamp, but he's got some cool stuff coming. Yeah, Zara is the bomb diggity. Steve's also still trying to come up with simplistic photo idea. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm actually gonna tell you guys what I'm planning to do for my simplicity photo, and maybe that will help you come up with some ideas for your simplicity photos. And if you have an idea for your photo, like Edith, you said you've got an idea, and whoever else has an idea, share your ideas in the chat. Maybe that will help people who are still trying to come up with something figure something out. Okay, so Nithin, I see your question about how to edit vintage. I will get to that in a moment. Let me explain how I plan to do this simplicity photo right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to show you an image that I'm kind of going to riff off of for my simplicity photo. So I just got to remember where I put it in here. I think it's in here. Yep, right here. So this here, minus the text, is a wine photo that I shot, oh God, I don't know, like 4 or 5 or so years ago. It's been a while since I shot this photo. And I really like it, and I love playing with the idea of pouring wine into a glass and capturing the energy of that and the splash of it. So this is what I'm going to shoot, something like this. Not this exactly, but I'm going to play with this idea of wine and a glass and splashing and a pretty straightforward, clean, simple background. So that's my idea. Steve's idea says, I was tossing around simple portraits with complicated over-the-top gear. Now that sounds interesting, Steve, and I think I'd like to see that. Like a super complex setup for a photo that appears to be very simple. That could be a very fun way to interpret this challenge and challenge yourself too as far as the lighting and the execution goes. So Edith, when you say yours is similar, do you mean similar to mine or similar to Steve's as far as the idea goes? To mine. Okay, cool. I'm excited to see that then. The one I've done is an object and a nice simple bokeh background. Ooh, that'll look really good. See, that's another good way to go. Taking that background and letting that bokeh, shooting super shallow depth of field. Um, this isn't actually moonshine. It's actually tea that my wife made, but it is out of a mason jar, and it does look like moonshine. So I'm part way there. I do make well, I not I. We do make wine. Haven't made any in a while, but my wife and I do make wine, which is pretty fun. Not like a wine expert or anything at all, but it's a fun thing to do. Okay, so gut heal tea herbalists love their mason jars. Yes, 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 they do. All right, so let's take a look at vintage photo editing. There's a real easy way to give your photo a vintage look. So let me just grab something out of Lightroom. Let's see here that we want to give a vintage treatment to. In fact, let's just go with this. Okay, so I'm first going to quickly do the raw edits here. So I'm going to pop up my exposure a little bit. Let's crank the contrast, pull those highlights back. And color I'm not going to worry about much. Do a quick white balance check. I always forget how to use this thing. Over here for the white balance is good. Effects, I'm just going to throw a little clarity on there. Dave, did you decide what you're doing? Are you moving away from Adobe, or are you still waffling around with that and thinking about what you want to do? And then let's do a little bit of sharpening. And this is just my base editing right now. And now I'm just going to throw this over to open in maximum available. And we're going to do a quick vintage edit here. Copy to photo. Okay. Moving away from Lightroom Classic for sure. So are you going Capture One? I know you were talking about that after you had talked with Detweiler about it. Okay, so a couple of things you can do to make a photo look vintage. Number one is using your Curves tool. And you can use the Curves tool in Lightroom. You can use the Curves tool in Photoshop or Affinity Photo. Any program that has a Curves tool. Right, so I'm going to go here under these tools and bring up my Curves. And then I'm going to open up the Curves itself. And what we want to do is we want to do what's called crushing or flattening the blacks. So we're going to add a couple of points onto the curve spline here because I want to anchor the rest of the spline so that it doesn't move too much. And then I'm going to come over here and grab this, and I'm going to pull this up. And you see what's happening to the blacks there? The blacks are getting crushed and flattened out. We're reducing the dynamic range in the area of the blacks. So that is a start on how to make a photo look vintage, by crushing the blacks. So there's no black crushing, and there's black crushing happening. On top of that, if you want to also add a little bit more of a vintage feel, you can kind of do the same thing with the lighter tones in the image. So I'm going to bring the curves back up and bring the spline back up, and I'm going to come up here and add another point on the upper end, and then I'm going to take it, I'm going to pull the brights down a little bit. And essentially what we're doing here is we're reducing the dynamic range of the image on purpose to flatten it out a little bit, because vintage photos tend, generally speaking, the vintage look tends to be a little bit flatter. So we've done those two things right there, and that alone contributes quite a bit to a vintage look. But there's one more thing you can do very quickly and very easily to make it look vintage, and that is to throw a vintage looking color grade on it. So I'm going to jump down here to the gradient map, and what a gradient map does is maps the colors in your image, or I'm sorry, the tones in your image to the gradient that you set. Okay, so I'm going to delete this middle point. And over here on the left of the gradient is all of the lighter values in the image, which you can tell because if you look at the image, all of the lighter image, the background, all of the lighter tones, I'm sorry, the background, my hands, my skin, all of that other stuff, that's been mapped to this blue. And then over here, the highlights are the blue. The shadows are the red. So what's been mapped to the red is like my beard, my coat, my shirt, all of this other stuff. And then the highlights are the blue, and that's all mapped there, right? Now this obviously looks terrible, okay? But you start taking the opacity and you drag that opacity down, and then you've got a color grade on there. Now, I didn't particularly change the colors, right? So let's go for something that will give us a little bit more of a vintage look, which is probably going to be in the shadow areas. The super popular thing is to go with the teal, right? So let's go with the teal over here, and then in the highlights, we will go with the orange. Right around there. Right, and that gives us kind of that orange and teal look, and then we drag the opacity down so that it looks a bit more reasonable. And now here we have a vintage looking photo because we've crushed the blacks, we've reduced the dynamic range by crushing the highlights a little bit, and then we've thrown a color grade on there. And you could do a much better job with the color grade, and this isn't the best image for a color grade either because I have that clean white background, but that gives you the idea. So Mike, yeah, Mike's got a good question. We can talk about this real quick. The Adobe certified expert in Lightroom is dropping Lightroom. Yeah, space-time continuum's gonna break. We're gonna have a divergence in the timelines, and it's gonna be Endgame all over again. No spoilers. Mike says, so is it true that Adobe is going after older CC users? And the answer to that, as Dave said, is it's not true. That's been blown out of proportion. To be fair, Adobe probably could have messaged this better as well. Hello, PM. How's it going? Hello. Thanks for joining. So what happened with that letter that Adobe sent out is that older versions of some of their software, and I don't know which pieces of software, but it's stuff that's not included in the photography plan because I'm on the photography plan and I did not receive this letter. Or maybe it is, but I'm on the versions that don't matter. But the issue is older versions of some of Adobe software. I don't know what software. Maybe Photoshop, maybe Lightroom, maybe Premiere, maybe After Effects, whatever it is. But older versions are using technology that Adobe licensed from a third party, a different company. And their license to use that technology is expired, which means if somebody is using that software, they're technically violating the license of the party that owned the technology to develop that software version. Now, Adobe doesn't use it anymore. Let's say it's Photoshop, right? Let's say for Photoshop CS6, and I'm just making up these versions as examples. Let's say for Photoshop CS6, Adobe licensed some technology from, I don't know, we'll pretend it's from Apple, even though it's not Apple. I'm just making all of this up to give you the example, right? And now Adobe has changed the technology and built their own, so they don't need to license it from Apple anymore. And in the newest versions of Creative Cloud, Adobe isn't paying Apple for the license because they don't need it anymore. What they are doing is sending out a message to all of the people who are still using CS6. And again, I'm making up all the versions. We're just pretending it's CS6. I don't even know what versions of what software it is. But they're sending that message out to all of the people using the old software with the licensed technology from, again, we're pretending it's Apple, saying, hey, look, your software is technically legally violating the license that the other company that we're pretending is Apple holds. If you continue to use this software, Apple could maybe sue you. Again, I'm making up all of the names except for Adobe. But that's what's happening. Adobe isn't suing anybody. They're telling people that the version of the software they're using is using technology they no longer have rights to use. It's possible, probably not likely, but possible, the party that owns the actual technology license could sue you for using that software. That's the deal. Hello, Jeff. How's it going? First time getting, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're joining, Jeff. Jeff moved to On1 Photo Raw 2019 about a month ago. Dave, you've been messing around with On1 Photo Raw too, haven't you? Okay, so my wife did awesome. We're getting our business wind-up glasses. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be awesome. Okay, I got to back up here. Sandy's idea is a vase with one single flower. This is for the simplicity. a vase with a single flower, a single rose petal fallen on the ground. These are different ideas. A seashell on a sandy beach, a woman with a white flowing dress in a flower field. That's what I think of. All of those, Sandy, are beautiful ideas for simplicity. All of those. I love those ideas. And I don't know which one, if any, you're going to execute, but I cannot wait to see them. All right. Dave says, yeah, Dave, anytime you want to visit, we will keep your wine glass full. And Dave is going to be pretty close to us soon. Hey, Andre, how's it going? Good explanation. Thank you, Michael. Mike says, thank you for clearing that up. No problem. Hey, Harry, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. And hello, Flavio. How are you today? And Mark MC is here as well. Okay, so let's actually pretend I'm going to edit some photos here, guys. Maybe. I got to get out of here, though. I've been sitting on a couple of these photos that I need to finish off for a while. So I'm going to bring this one up and pretend that I'm working on finishing this one. This is Dodge. Yeah, this is Dodge. So where was I on this? I don't even know where I was in the Dodge. It looks like I was on the front piece. So let's just go ahead, grab a brush, set the flow to, we'll go with 6% to the hardness. And we're going to start doing some dodging and burning here. All right. Hello, Ultra MUC. How are you today as well? Hey, we need to have a photographer wine party over here. Zara, you'll have to come visit. We'll have to bring Dave over and get some other photographers. That would be super fun. Michael says, so what do you do with these edits when you're done? I do a couple of things, Michael. Number one, I send them to the person that I worked with. So in this case, this is Amber. I'm going to send this edited photo to her when it's done. And then number two, I will eventually share it on Instagram or something like that. And then, I hope I didn't screw anything up. Let's just do some undoing here. Select path, select path. There we go. Set current selection. Yeah, let's bring it back to here. Let's go to the tool again. Okay, we're back in business. And just recently, by the way, I've added prints as an option that people can purchase. So this is like super low tech, not the best way to do prints, but it's available. So let me actually show you guys that, because why not, right? On my website, I should do Safari here so I can actually show you guys my website. We're going to close these tabs out because I don't know what I was looking at. And we're going to go to my portfolio website, SpyrosHeniadis.com. And what I've done, super low key, super easy, is I've got a prints tab right here. And you just complete this page to order a print. If you want to order a print with me, you can see the prices on the top. And then first name, last name, email. The subject is your print order. Describe the photo and the size that you want. And you send that to me, and then I email you back, and I commit, and then we confirm that and whatever. And basically what that means is you can look at any of my photos. Let's go to conceptual, right? And you can say, I want to order this photo here of Amber. And so you tell me that, and then I'll order that print. It's a terrible way to do print ordering, right? Because it's not click to buy, but setting up a click to buy print store would be a tremendous pain in the butt. So I'm not doing that. So that's what I do with my photos right now. I'm doing good, Ultra MUC. I'm doing really good. That model does kind of look like Rebecca now that you mentioned that, Zara. Yeah, I should send the photo to Rebecca when I'm done so she can see it. My idea was a coffee cup and capture the steam from it. Ooh, I like the idea of that. I like the idea of that a lot, Edith. Yeah, they are available for print orders. So if you want to order some prints from me, go to SpyrosHeniadis.com and check it out. You can use Shotproof for it. What's Shotproof? Let's take a look at Shotproof. Shotproof. I can't type on here with one finger. I type poor. Shotproof. Shotproof Home. Professional sales tools and stunning client galleries for photographers. Let's see what their plans look like. 1,500 photos, $10 a month. That would be more than enough for me. Maybe I'll look at Shotproof for sending out print sales. We'll see. He found it anyway. I'm here yelling at you. I can send you a referral link. Oh, it's shoot proof. Shoot proof. Shoot. Oh my God. Okay, up to 100 is free. Okay. I'll look at Shootproof as a possible print store. And that maybe will work. I was looking at like, what's it called? Smug Mug, but that was a pain in the butt too. Okay, so I will look at Shootproof. Zara, please do send me that affiliate link or that referral link or whatever the heck it is. Same idea, kind of. Okay. I did find it anyway. Let's see. Hello, Carlos, and hello, Wayne, who have joined as well. And who else did I see that joined? I thought I saw somebody else joined. I think just Carlos and Wayne. Hello, you guys. How's it going? Hello, Elaine. How are you? Greetings from Wisconsin. Smug Mug wrecked Flickr. Did they? I mean, I haven't used Flickr in so long that, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I just don't care. Which sounds terrible, but I mean, it is what it is. I just don't because I don't use Flickr, so it doesn't really matter to me. Cochise, hello. Morning, where's my damn cup of joe? I don't know, but you better go grab one. He was going to redo his entire website to sell prints. Some days I'm like, shoot me now. I was not redoing my entire website. I was setting up Smug Mug, which is setting up a whole Smug Mug website to sell prints. So not exactly, but yes, kind of. Okay, it's 12:30. I've successfully done 0 editing, guys. Other than showing, I'm going to say it wrong if I don't go back and look at it. So I got to find. I can't find. Other than showing how to do that vintage edit that's Nithin asked about. Nithin. It would have been 73 hours later. It would have been 72 hours later, not 73. Okay. So anyway, we should definitely have a wine party, Dave and Zara. Zara, you've got reason to come visit us in Wisconsin because we's in Wisconsin. So that we should definitely do. That would just be fun, right? Have take a weekend where the three of us get together, and we could do like some boss video projects. Do I sound like I'm from the 70s when I say boss? Somebody commented that on one of my videos when I said boss in it. But we could make some videos together, too, if you guys came to visit. We could play in the studio. My God, that would be so fun. Zara, you got to come. You got to come visit us in Wisconsin. Cyberdoc says, I will bring a classy box of wine to your party. Hello, Bella JB. All right, let's plan it. That's a deal, Zara. We drink tea out of a jar, too. Cheers, Bella JB. Cheers. Well, of course, honey, you're here. Of course you're here. You're part of, I mean... Hello, the expectation is that you're here as well. Nithin says how to shoot with rich colors in camera with camera color profiles. Yeah, we could get Dave Junior down here too. I'd totally roll with that. Okay, so I'll bring my rum and eye patch. That sounds good. Nithin, I'll get your question here in just a moment. Also, excuse me, who just asked about, PM. I'll also, so to do that, I actually have to update my Lightroom. So let's just do that right now because I haven't even updated my Lightroom for that texture slider. So let's go to the App Store and do that. App Store, updates, Lightroom for iPad. Okay, so we'll update that and we'll look at that texture slided. I literally have no opinion on it because I haven't used it yet. Don't, Harry says. Oh boy, is it that bad? So let's play with it and see. Now, Nithin, how to shoot with rich colors in camera with camera profile. So there's two things you have to consider there, Nithin. The first is if you want rich colors in your images in camera, with your profiles, you can go in, and it depends upon your camera, of course, but typically within the camera, you can select one of the in-camera profiles, and you can adjust things like the saturation, possibly the vibrance, to increase the richness of the colors. However, be aware, Nithin, that if you are capturing your images in RAW, that in-camera profile kind of doesn't matter because when you take that RAW file and you import it into Lightroom or whatever RAW editor you use, it doesn't have to be Lightroom. When you import it, that profile doesn't stay with the image. The raw editor applies a profile. Now, within the raw editor, you can create a custom profile that will mimic and or match the profile that you have in your camera. For instance, when you're editing, one of the first options that you have is to choose a profile, right? So you can create your own profile in Lightroom. I have this one that I made up just as an example called SHP Cool, and when I tap it, boom, this look is applied to my image, this profile, which is the base interpretation of the raw file. But if you're shooting JPEG, then in camera, you can adjust the profile to boost those two things up. Now, that's just the profile. In terms of capturing rich color, you have to think about the lighting that you're shooting in. Generally speaking, you're going to want bright, rich lighting to enhance the colors in the image. Flatter lighting tends to diminish your colors. So like shooting on an overcast day, as an example, is going to tend to mute your colors a little bit versus shooting on a very bright sunny day, which is going to tend to boost the colors a little bit. So also think about when you're shooting, in addition to going into your camera profiles and adjusting the desired profile that you want to use to increase the saturation and or vibrance settings. And that's what you can do to get them in camera. Okay, so I actually like the texture slider, Andre says. Dave says it just seems to be a lesser version of clarity. Interesting. Elaine says, you posted a great vid on your Lightroom workflow via Lightroom CC and so on. How to delete the uploaded images in the cloud once you downloaded them with Lightroom Classic on your hard drive. Okay, Elaine, that's something you got to be really careful with, because essentially once those images are in the cloud, they're in the cloud. And if you download them to Lightroom Classic, and Dave, our resident Lightroom expert here, certified, can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but because you're syncing and because you start in Lightroom CC and you port them up into the cloud, and then through the cloud they come back down to Classic, you can't remove the cloud versions and keep the local versions. If you delete a version of the image in Lightroom Classic, or Lightroom CC. For example, let me show you what I'm talking about, right? I'm going to pick an image that I can delete that I don't care about, like whatever. Here, this one right here. This was a test for I don't even remember what. And I want to delete this image, right? So when I go to delete, it's telling you this. Deleting this image is not undoable. It will be deleted from your Lightroom photos, all sync devices, album, and shares. It's going to disappear from everywhere. One thing you can't do is go to the Adobe Cloud selectively and say, I want to just delete the image here in the cloud, but keep it on your local devices. They didn't design it to do it that way, and I think it was smart that they did not design it that way, because doing that would, number one, be complicated for creating a synchronization system that would work. And number two, I think it would lead to people making mistakes and ending up deleting things that they may or may not want deleted. So unfortunately, you can't do that, Elaine, and I apologize. I shouldn't apologize. I mean, I've got nothing to apologize for, but that's not something that's possible. You're kind of stuck with it in Adobe's cloud and on your Lightroom, in your Lightroom catalogs, if you use one or both versions, when you agree to use that cloud. Okay, so the texture slider. Let's take a look at the texture slider. I need an image that's got some decent texture in it. So, I don't know, let's just play with this one for now. This is probably not the best, but I'm guessing it's under detail or effects. Texture. Okay, so let's zoom in and let's see what this texture slider does. Crank it up, crank it down. Okay, so texture at 100. Now let's take clarity to 100. It's different than clarity, clearly. I can see how, I could see how you could use this slider to do, say, some rudimentary skin softening, as an example. Or if if you had sort of like the classic picture that Zara was talking about. I'll try it with skin tones in a minute, Michael. Dave says it's really bad and will delete everywhere. You have to make sure you have solid backups outside of the Lightroom folders. Yeah, exactly. So that's that, and I understand, and I get why Adobe did that, because if they allowed you to like selectively delete it, it would make a super complicated technical system. Okay, so let's grab an image that has some skin tones. So some skin texture. Let's take a look at my face and my texture and see what texture does. So clarity, for the extreme, that's what clarity does at -100. Okay, so let's set that to 0. For texture, there's clearly a difference. I can see how this very quickly could make a person go crazy with skin softening, but I see how it can be used for some basic kind of skin retouching. I can tell you right away that I don't like it personally. Let me find a different. Actually, first let me undo my edits there, because I want that where it was. So my texture should be at 0. And my clarity should be at 15. Yeah. Okay, close enough. Let me go to, let's see what I got here. That's self. That's more self. I took a lot of self-portraits. Let's see if I got something here. A shot of Cecilia that this might work with. Let's take a look at this one right here. So first, let me get my color set on this. So I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to copy my settings, because I want to see it included. Tools, light, color, optics, geometry. Yes, copy those settings. And then we'll go to this one and we will paste those settings. Okay, so here's like the baseline of this. And now let's go to color, or go to texture, and let me see what happens here when I pull that slider down. Yeah, okay, I can tell you right now, I don't like it. I don't like it because it's too, number one, I think it's too heavy-handed, and number two, I think it's too rudimentary. I like more control in my skin softening and my skin work, which is why I do my skin work in Affinity, and, you know, carefully retouch and carefully soften skin when I do that, versus something like this, which is, I'm sure, let me see, in fact, let's go to the brush tool. Where's the brush tool? It's right here. I don't want that. Cancel that. Brush tool, selective edits, effects. Yeah, so texture, you can brush the texture on and off with the brush tool here, but I can tell you right now that I'm not going to use this texture slider. I can see the benefit for other people, certainly, but I don't think that way it's going to work for me. Try adding texture to hair. Okay, let's try adding texture to hair. Cancel out of that. Let's see what it does. Texture, add. Okay, I can see some benefit to that. It kind of gives the hair a little bit more volume. Not volume. Volume's not the right word. It certainly helps give it some more definition. Obviously, you'd have to brush it off or brush it in rather than do it globally as I'm doing it. So maybe I'll use it for hair. I'll try to play with it over the next, 2 or 3 edits that I do, or 4 edits that I actually do when I do them. Obviously not now. To see how it plays with the hair that I have and how I like it. Here's another place I want to try it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Let me reset this image first so that I don't forget about all of this stuff. Reset all. Okay, so that's back to where it started. And what I thought of is I've got these portraits from Angela that we did here, and I'm going to grab one that I didn't edit again, and let me just grab my adjustments, copy settings, copy everything, and then I'll go to one that I didn't. But before I do, you guys have some questions, so I want to catch up with what you guys were saying in the chat. Let me just grab this one right here. We'll grab this one right here. Okay, that'll work. And paste settings so I know where I'm at. Okay, so let me see what we got going on here. Okay, so Nithin, you want to know what happens when you're using pirated version of CC apps in Mac? Nithin, don't do it. You shouldn't pirate software. It's wrong. I'm not going to lie and pretend that I've not done it. I've done it in the past. Everybody's done it in the past, right? Fine. But I don't recommend it. You could expose your Mac to viruses or malware or other bad stuff if you get a version that has some crap injected into it. And in my opinion, it's just not a good idea. There are affordable non-subscription options out there that you can use, alternatives to Mac software. If you're looking for a Lightroom alternative, check out Skylum's Luminar. Excuse me. And if you're looking for a Photoshop alternative, check out Affinity Photo. Those are two options that I recommend. Both of them cost about $60 United States. So for a total investment of $120 US, you've got the software, and you're fine. There are also free alternatives that, while not as easy to use, are available out there. So I don't recommend pirating the apps, Nithin. That's not right. You shouldn't do it, even though I'm guilty of it in the past. It's just not the right thing to do. Hello, Subvids. Okay, so let me see what else we got here. Your suit pictures look cool, Bella JB says. Uncle Spyros wants you like the Uncle Sam wants you. Thank you, Bella JB. I'm digging the suit look too. I'm really liking it. Elaine says, I tried it by linking the download images in a non-synced catalog and then delete the image in CC. I have quit from Adobe Cloud. Carlos says it's a big trap for me. I'm still using Adobe Cloud. Now here's my thoughts on it. I know a lot of people aren't super thrilled with Adobe, and I totally get that, and that's fine. Like, I'm not an Adobe evangelist, right? Like, I'm using their stuff, and the main reason I'm still using Adobe software is because, as far as I'm concerned, on the iPad, and this answers your question, Elaine, I do edit fully on the iPad. I do all of my editing and retouching here, which presumably I would be doing live if we weren't talking so much, but this is kind of what this has turned into, which is me talking and pretending to edit. But I'm going to be actually doing tutorials, more tutorials, Elaine, and anybody else who's interested, on how to edit on the iPad, how to use Lightroom, how to use Affinity Photo, how to do different things. So I'm using Lightroom because of Lightroom for mobile, Lightroom for iOS is hands down, in my opinion, the best raw editor for iPad, also the best asset manager for iPad. The only other raw editor that I think comes close to doing a decent job is this, where is it? Pixelmator Photo right here, which is a $5 app that does a pretty decent job, but is strictly a raw editor, and it has no asset manager, which means that I would have to either use iCloud for asset management, or I would have to use something like Dropbox. And I'm not sure I want to roll my own asset manager just yet. Maybe in the future, and I'm actually planning on making a video showing you how you could use Pixelmator, because I know a lot of people don't want to pay for that Lightroom subscription. How you could use Pixelmator on iPad and iCloud and Affinity to do a full iPad editing system without having to use Lightroom. So that is available, and that's something that I'm working on. Lou, let's see here. Okay. Lewis says, I like using the new Lightroom Cloud app with the sync off so I can use it just like Lightroom Classic. Yeah, that's a perfectly viable way to use it. Perfectly viable way. None of that cloud stuff, I would bust that space limit in a month. I get that. I'm paying the, for the 1 terabyte of space, which is enough for me. So I haven't run into the space limit, and I doubt that I will. Based on the volume of work that I produce. I'm not a volume shooter, so for me, it's not really an issue. Look, I'm actually doing some editing while I talk here. But I can see why people don't want that, and I can also see why that would be an issue, not only with the amount of space you get, but also with the amount of data that it would use, right? Because if you're on a metered data connection, that could bust through your data limit in a hot minute, and that's a big problem because the entire world doesn't have the same kind of internet availability. So I totally get that. Zara says, have you used Portraiture for skin? I've been using it for years in Photoshop and Lightroom, and it's pretty much the only thing outside of frequency separation that I'll use for skin. I've never used Portraiture. I will have to take a look at that, Zara. Although, again, being as I'm editing only on the iPad, adding that to my workflow might not be what I would want to do, only because switching between the two, I don't think would increase the efficiency. And I don't know if the gains, I'll check it out, but I don't know if the gains that I would get from using Portraiture would offset the pains of then, having to switch back and forth from iPad, to, and so on and so forth. But I'll definitely look at it, because if it is a viable tool, I could just use Facetune on my iPad, right? That'll soften some skin up. That would be awful. Elaine says, what do you think of the rumors of Adobe's price setting? So here's my opinion on it. I don't have a problem with $20 a month for the photography plan as like the new standard with 1 terabyte of storage. I think it's a fair price for what you're getting, first of all, because if you think about what you're getting, you get the latest and greatest version of Photoshop, which that alone used to cost you $700 for a single version of it, right? You also get the latest and greatest version of Lightroom, which all by itself was, I believe, like $150 to purchase. You also now get the fancy cloud version of Lightroom. You also get access to 1 terabyte of cloud storage for your photos. You also get free, super duper easy to make web galleries. You get a free portfolio website through Adobe Portfolio. You get to use Adobe's Spark tools, which are Spark Page, Spark Post, and Spark Web, or Spark Video. Spark Page allows you to quickly and easily make web pages. Spark Post allows you to do to create web graphics like Canva does, if you're familiar with Canva. It's basically for creating good-looking web images. And then Spark Video is a pretty rudimentary but also pretty cool tool for making videos. All of that is included in that $20 a month. Currently, this $9 a month plan at the 20 gigabyte rate. So I think it's a fair price, and I will be paying it. Currently, I'm paying $15 a month for that 1 terabyte because it was a promotional deal for people who are already on the photography plan to upgrade. And when that year of that expires, I'll be moved to that $20 a month tier, which is currently optional. If that becomes the default, I'm paying it anyway, so it doesn't matter as long as I'm using Adobe. If I move away from Adobe, then I won't pay for it anymore. But that'll be if I have a better Lightroom alternative for the iPad. Maybe Affinity comes out with an asset manager that also has a mobile version, and then everything is seamless for me. But I think it's a fair price. I don't have a problem with it. And I think that if somebody doesn't want to pay it, that's fine. I respect that. But I think it's a fair price because you get a tremendous amount of value for that $20 a month. And if you think for 5 minutes about some of the other stupid stuff that you might be spending $20 a month on, because we're all guilty of spending $20 a month on stupid stuff every month, it's easy money, easy value for what you get. It's tremendous. It's Photoshop, for crying out loud. That alone, in my opinion, is worth it. So, Carlos has been using On1 for organizing and developing. Awesome. PM says it's very basic. Whoops, the chat just jumped to me. Sorry, guys. I got to back it up now. Yes, it's very, very basic, but for some texture on landscape photos, it will be okay with some brush, the texture slider. Yeah, and I think it will be good for like hair and maybe bringing out texture and other elements of a portrait. So I am going to play with it some more because I can see some value in it. I was thinking of it the other way, like pulling it down and de-emphasizing texture rather than increasing that texture. So I'm going to play with that. Subvids, I'm hanging out and talking and not getting very much editing done. Napster days, right? Yeah, Napster days. I'm guilty. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, 2 people, Elaine and anybody else wondering, by the way, you inspired me and I bought myself an iPad Pro. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. So Elaine and another friend of mine has purchased an iPad inspired by my editing process. It really is amazing, despite the very little editing that I'm actually doing here, which I'm going to try to actually do more of. It is tremendous in my opinion. It's a wonderful way to be able to edit because you get this very intimate connection that you don't get at the desktop, and it's more efficient. It is, for me, it's genuinely more efficient because I can edit anywhere, anytime, before bed, on the couch, whatever. I've got it there and I can edit. So I'm wondering if I did this over here already. I did. It looks like it. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to hit that as well. Oh my God, Napster. I forgot about that, right, Zara? Jeff says to Carlos, I like the fact that I don't have to go through a huge import process. I can get straight to editing. That's one of the nice things about like On1 and Luminar, where they're not cataloging in the same way that Lightroom does, and so you don't have to that preview building and stuff like that is quicker, which is nice. Dave says, I'm only using the cloud now for very specific reasons, Lightroom, time-lapse, and a few other things that I have not figured out how to move to Affinity. Yeah, I've never done, I am the real Napster. Does anybody get that reference there that my wife put into the chat? I am the real Napster? I should give a prize to whoever gets that reference. I don't know what the prize is, but I want to give a prize if anybody knows what that reference is. I am the real Napster. Okay, so Dave, I've never been a Lightroom time-lapse user. I know it's really good. I've just never done a lot of time-lapse stuff. But yeah, that's an interesting challenge there. Elaine says, looking forward to your iPad tutorials. Thank you. I'm excited about making them. I've actually got one coming out next week. I'm kicking that off next week, and I'm going to be making a bunch of those. So I'm pretty excited about that. What do I think of DxO Optics Pro, Subvid says? I haven't used it very much. I tested it out at one point, and I thought it was fine. I'm trying to remember what my experience was, and I think mainly my experience was that I didn't really care for the raw processing. The thing about that, though, the thing to be aware of is it's a little bit unfair for me to knock some of these software providers with their raw editors and their raw processing, because I shoot Olympus. And to be fair, Olympus doesn't have a huge market share, and so they probably didn't spend as much time, if any time, optimizing their raw engines for Olympus raw files. If you use On1 or DxO Optics or any of those others, they probably spent way more time optimizing their raw engine for Canon, Nikon, and probably now Sony cameras, because those essentially are the three big dogs. And you're likely to get way better raw processing results out of DxO Optics if you shoot one of those more major brands. I shoot sort of a quote-unquote off-brand camera with an Olympus, and I think that's why, for me, I've gotten the best raw processing results out of Lightroom, of any of them, except maybe Capture One. And Capture One is fine. I have no problem with Capture One, but it doesn't really fit my workflow, so I've never used it. So that's my thoughts on DxO Optics. I bought myself an iPad Pro just to follow you. Elaine, like genuinely, Elaine, if you have questions about stuff, let me know, whether it's, in a comment on YouTube or here in the chat, or, you can message me on Facebook or whatever, because those kinds of questions will help me narrow down the kind of iPad editing tutorials that I should make. So feel free to get in touch with me. Louis says, being able to edit anywhere. Is it Louis or Luis? I always say Luis. Luis says, being able to edit anywhere is so important. Inspiration and ideas can hit you anywhere, so either iPad or any laptop is great for image editing. I agree. The difference between the iPad and the advantage of the iPad over the laptop, though, in my opinion, is this. With the iPad, you've got this small package with the pencil, and you can work on the image. With a laptop, you can work in Photoshop on the laptop, right? But if it's a non-touch based laptop, right? If we're looking at something like a Surface or something like that, then you get the advantage. But if it's a non-touch laptop, a MacBook, or any of the plethora of Windows laptops that are not touch, then you're either using a mouse, the trackpad, or you also have to bring your Wacom tablet if you use a Wacom tablet. And that's extra pain in the butt to set up and use when you're on the go. Whereas with this, literally anywhere. You pop off the pencil and boom, you're at it. Seamless. No fuss, no muss. Robert's got to go. Catch you later, Robert. Thanks for hanging out. My goodness, it's almost 1 o'clock already. Carlos says, I have combined this with other Google, the Google Nick collection. Yeah, and they sold that to DxO. So now it's actually DxO's Nick collection, which should work really well with DxO Optics Pro. Acvis, okay, this just jumped on me. Sorry, guys. Acvis make, what is, I'm not sure what that is, Jeff. I'll have to look that up, though. It's another good skin retoucher. Carlos says, I have a large 200,000 photo collection, and managing this is a headache. Yeah, that's a lot of photos to manage. A terabyte of storage is definitely nice to have. Nithin, how to have a model except for nude photos? Nithin, if you're just looking to get a model because you want to get a naked lady in front of you, don't. That's not right. That's not the right thing to do. Creating art that happens to be of a nude model, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you are just trying to get a model because you want them to model nude, don't do it. I'm not gonna even give you any suggestions because that's not the right way to go. And you can't just jump into doing that anyway. Before you can do that, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to shoot. You have to know how to light. There's a lot of things that you should be knowing. So I feel like you're trying to get ahead of the game here, and I kind of don't like the vibe. So I just want to shut that down because that's not cool and it's not right. A camera isn't a license to try to get somebody to take their clothes off for you. It is not. It's not cool. $20 a month on dollar store beer, right, Coach? Right, Coaches? Exactly. How about $150 a month for a gym membership? Exactly. Especially if you're not using it. But I think, are you using it? I hope you're using it. Dollar store beer. Same place to get my box wine, Cyberdoc says. That's hilarious. By the way, how to show the mask in Affinity. Elaine, here's how you do that. Since we're in Affinity, let me show you that right now. I'm just going to do a quick merge visible on this. So we have this new pixel layer, and I'm going to jump over, and I'm just going to do just a quick selection. So I'm going to add, I'm going to quickly grab, a bunch of the background. And this is going to be an awful selection, but it's just to give us the idea, right? Okay, so let's say I wanted to grab all of this. And now I want to look at the mask so that I can brush and refine it. What you need to do is you need to tap the 3-dot menu up here. And when you tap that menu, it brings up the selection options. And under the selection as layer, you can toggle the edit selection as layer. And then it switches to the mask mode. And now you can go back to the develop tools, choose the brush, and I'm going to switch the brush to black. And let's say I wanted to brush away some of this here. Am I on the right layer? Okay. Every other time I do this, it works. Why is it not working? Literally every other time I do this, it works. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that's how you reveal the mask. I apologize that it's not working, because it normally does. But that's how you show the mask. Edit selection as layer. I wonder if it's because I didn't deselect. Oh, it is working. Ha ha ha, my flow's too low. I'm such a dork sometimes. Okay, so let's take away all that paintbrush tool. Let's turn my flow up. I want to set it to white, and now I'll show you what it does. There we go. Now you can brush on the mask. So if you do that, make sure you have the flow on your brush turned up. That was my problem. I am the real Rick James. That's not the reference though. And then once you're done with that, by the way, once you're done doing whatever mask work you would do, then you go back to the selection, and then you go back to selection as layer, and you toggle it off again, and you'll now have the adjusted selection based upon the work that you did on the mask overlay. Alrighty. Dave got it. Dave. Ding, 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 ding. The Italian job. That's awesome. All right, Dave. I don't know what kind of prize you want, but I gotta hook you up with something. I'll hook you up with a bottle of wine when you and Zara come over. How's that sound? Oh God. Subvid says, have you ever used painting software like Manga Studio? It looks like it would be great fun on the iPad. I haven't. I'm not much of a painter or a drawer, but I am familiar with those tools. One of them that I'm real familiar with, just knowing about it, is called Procreate. And I know a lot of artists use that to draw and create and paint and create art on the iPad. Oh, DxO is now Photolab too. Interesting, Harry. I didn't know that. I didn't know they changed the name of it. Luis says, painting on the iPad looks insane. There are videos on YouTube of people painting on the iPad. Yep, Procreate, that's exactly it. They are incredible. It is exactly all about the pen on the screen. It's so amazing. I love it. Like, I cannot tell you how amazing it is. If you haven't tried it, you have to try it. And here's the thing, like, some people think you need to have the iPad Pro to do this. You do not have to have the iPad Pro. Any iPad that supports Apple Pencil, including the Apple Pencil version 1, will work. So the brand new iPad is $329. Now, granted, that one doesn't have a ton of storage, but if you're relying on something like iCloud storage or Adobe's cloud storage, that doesn't matter. You can purchase the iPad for like $329. You can get the pencil that works with that iPad for $100, and for $429, you've got an iPad that you can edit on like this. I need to delete this pixel layer and also ditch this selection as well before I forget what I was doing. So deselect. And we'll go back to our dodging and burning. Hello, Leo Manchetti. Nice to see you as well. Thank you for joining. I'll go a little bit longer today just because we're having a good old time here, right? Cheers to that. PM, we want a live photo shoot. I need to talk to Angela, and we need to set up another live photo shoot. We don't have anything scheduled right now, so that's something that I do want to do soon. Soon, yes, soon. I don't know when. So let me talk to Angela, and we'll get something, set up. In July, I'm participating in a workshop with 3-act model and 2 non-act. You just need to find an act model. I don't know what that means, ACT. Carlos. But yeah, it's nice to see how Spyros is getting fast progress with everything photography aspects, processing all this technology and techniques. Great respect. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. Yeah, to stay friends with us. That's Dave's reward. That's hilarious. And what an excellent reward it is. Indeed. Okay, so I should do a little bit more dodging and burning here while we're chatting. But yeah, I cannot sing the praises of editing on the iPad enough. I know it's not perfect, okay? I know Affinity Photo isn't perfect. Here's the other thing, and a question, right? We don't know the answer to this yet, but as far as editing on the iPad goes, this also connects back to the question of $20 for Adobe's photography plan, is the iPad version of Photoshop, right? That's coming in 2019. Maybe that keeps me with Adobe, right? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Affinity is very good. Affinity is very, very good on iPad. But it's not Photoshop. And what I mean by that is it doesn't integrate with Lightroom. And the iPad for Photoshop will integrate with Lightroom. You better believe it's going to integrate with Lightroom. And so that might actually keep me in Adobe's system rather than me getting out of their system. But I don't know, because we don't know what Adobe Photoshop for iPad looks like yet. They did a preview of it at that iPad event last year, and then they did another preview of it just a couple weeks ago, at their 99U event. And it looks good, but I don't know how it's going to work yet, and I don't know how it's going to fit and how capable it's going to be compared to Affinity. And I cannot help but believe that Affinity has got to be working on major updates to Photo for iPad, knowing that Photoshop is going to land, and knowing that they need to keep the lead that they have built by having Photo for iPad for the last 2+ years that it's been available for people to use and get accustomed to. And you can see, if you look at YouTube and you look at stuff, this is becoming more sought after, editing this way. People are looking into this more. People are more curious and excited about this idea and exploring it, which is why I'm going to be making more videos about this. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, Zara and Kim, it's definitely, you guys are amazing. Spyros said the other day how well we'd get along since we're both blunt, so maybe people won't want to. Oh my god, yeah, you know what? You know what should happen? Zara, you and my wife should do some live streaming or something together. That would be pretty amazing. Thank you, CyberDoc. Okay, have a good weekend, bud. We'll just drink wine and judge all the people who don't like us. Yep, pretty much. You can't sit with us. You guys are amazing. Oh my god. You guys are amazing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we should figure out a way that you guys could do your own thing. Your own show, whatever it is. I'd have to step out of that one. Oh god. Okay, if we did photo critiques together, we could probably make people cry. Yeah, oh god, that would be awful. You guys. You don't want to make people cry. That's not the point of a critique. Oh my goodness. All right, see, look, I'm editing again. Maybe we should make this into a drinking game where when you guys come on the Friday stream, anytime I actually do any actual editing, you guys have to drink. Oh, Mark's wondering what adapter. Mark MC is wondering what adapter I'm using on my iPad and what it does. Let me show you that after I do another couple seconds of editing. I'm not even editing anything. I need to undo all of what I did. Let's back it up. Back it up. We'll back it up to there. Okay. Okay, so let me show you the editing. That's the worst drinking game ever. No one would ever get drunk. Oh my god. Okay, Zara. Now, just for that, we'll make it an editing next. We'll make it a. We'll have to make it a drinking game next week, and I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna edit like crazy. Hello, Emmanuel. How's it going? Okay, let me show you the dock I'm using. It's HyperDoc is the company, I'm pretty sure. Yep, here it is. So what I am using, no, that is not it. Okay, that's not it. Hyper, I think maybe it's just Hyper Shop. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. This is it. So connect USB-C to anything. This is the hyperdrive that I'm using. The iPad Pro 6-in-1 hub. How much are they charging for it? $90. Whoa, I caught a deal on this thing. Okay, so this is what I'm using. It is a USB-C port for your iPad. I got it for $50 when this was on Kickstarter, which is why I got it for $50. Speaking of editing, I'm done with the first gallery. See, I told you would be more productive than I was, Zara. Told you. Body shots while editing. Oh my god. And this thing has power input. It has USB-A input. It has a headphone port. It has a USB-C charging power delivery port. It also has a micro SD slot, and it has an HDMI input port. So currently I have just two things plugged into it. HDMI for the screen capture in my streaming software, which is on my streaming PC to my left here. And then the power delivery, because the output of the screen and having the screen on for the whole stream draws a lot of power, so I need to charge the iPad while it's going, otherwise it would die. Now you drink. It's not wine, but I drink. Okay. Tittles, I read that wrong, Louise says. Yeah. God. This is going to turn into either the worst or the best drinking game / stream ever, guys. Okay, let's see if I can get back to this whole idea of doing some dodge and burn stuff here. 6, hardness, we want that basically down at 0, and make that a smaller brush. Tea with honey. I'm drinking the gut heal tea that my wife makes me so that my gut is happy. And it generally is pretty happy, so that's good. Ah. Ooh, okay. Sorry about that. So, now let's see if this dodge and burn. There we got some actual dodge and burn action happening. So, this, I need a little bit smaller brush. Okay, see, drink people, drink. I'm editing for reels. I can actually see it happening now. Curious though, when I do this, can you guys even see the dodging happening? Can you see any of these lightning actions that I'm doing? Because I know it's the power of the internet is compressing the hell out of all of this. I think I am going to have a glass of wine with lunch. That sounds pretty tasty right now, honestly. Dave, do you like red or white? Hard to see. That's what I thought. Not that we won't have options when you get here, Dave, whatever that is. But we need to know if it's red or white. I'm just curious, actually. Don't actually need to know. And this is just, you know, I mean, if you see moonshine, right? Red, I love a good Syrah. Dave, yeah! Syrah for the win. Excellent. Love, love, love Syrahs as well. My wife and I both are fans of Syrahs and Shirazes. Good wines. Yeah. All right. I'm getting hungry too since I didn't eat anything earlier before the stream. I do. Does anybody else do intermittent fasting? I feel we all like whiskey, and for some reason we're all drinking wine. I mean, yeah, I like whiskey. My wife doesn't like whiskey as much, though. At least not straight. Kim's not as much of a whiskey as she is a wine, whiskey straight fan. But yeah, I do like whiskey. Whenever, which is not often because we're not really bar people, but whenever we do end up going out, if I'm not drinking wine, because lots of bars don't have a lot of good wine options, at least not here in central Wisconsin, I'm typically drinking whiskey. Because I know that I can get decent whiskey, if not good whiskey, at a bar. All right. Look, I'm editing. Ginger and Jack. Harder to do it. The tiny human. Yeah, I eat all her food. I've been doing it for over a year. Louise says I've lost 40 pounds. So I've been intermittent fasting for, I don't know, like 6 or 8 months. I'm doing an 18, was it 18-8? 16-8. 16-8, which is why I haven't eaten anything yet today. But I haven't been losing weight. And the reason I'm still not losing weight is during that 8, I'm still eating too much is the problem. So I'm working on getting better at that part of it. But I like skipping breakfast because it saves time. And for me, you know, it's easy enough and it's fast enough, or not fast enough, but the IF is easy enough for me to maintain that. It's habit now, so like I'm just doing it. I just need to get, my eating habits are already improving as of recently, except for last night. But last night we had a little bit of a celebration because my wife's not quite last day, but basically her last day at her job was yesterday, which is awesome and exciting. So we celebrated that by going out and getting ourselves a burger. Okay, I think most of what I want to get done here is done. Did I get the upper part of the hair? No, I need to get up in here yet. Okay. Best diet, no restrictions to what to eat. It's all about when to eat. I could never give up desserts. A life without chocolate. See, I love chocolate. It's so good. It's so good. I love chocolate. Wine gives me heartburn. Straight Scotch doesn't. Scotch it is, Andre. Scotch it is. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to do a little bit more restrictive fasting. Maybe I need to do like a 24, 20 fast, 4 eat, or something like that to kick off the weight loss. I'm exercising regularly, and I have seen a little bit of weight loss. So like over the last week, I just weighed myself this morning, and I lost 5 pounds. So that was great, right? Like I'm really happy about that. So I did lose some. and have started to lose some, but you know, I've got a good amount of weight to go. I'd like to drop about another 55 pounds based on the weight that I was at this morning, to get to where I was about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe closer to 5 now, as far as my weight. Although if I'm, I don't think I like that move right there. If I bulk up a little bit from the lifting, because I do lift, I'm fine with that. It's not the weight I'm as concerned with as the body composition that I'm trying to transform a little bit here. So that's why the lifting is something that I do. Plus, that's the kind of workout that I enjoy. I don't like cardio workouts. I do some cardio because my doctor tells me I have to. And I know cardio is good for you, so it's not like, I don't get that. But I don't like it. I love shooting with this Lens Baby lens. It's a super finicky lens, but it gives you some really cool looks. Super fun. Best diet, no restrictions. Congrats on joining the self-employed team. Dave says I'm just stress eating now. Well, I suppose, yeah, with all of the moving stress, Dave, that's enough, right? And Zara, I totally get it too. You tiny terrorist. She probably causes you a little bit of stress, right? Coachie says, I played football in college when I ate everything, now just 2 cheat meals weekly. Okay. I've tried doing cheat meals or cheat days, and I have a hard time not just going way overboard with it. So for me, something like the intermittent fasting and eating more reasonably, and this is the thing that I'm happy about. I'm not gaining weight, and I haven't gained weight in a long time. I've hit this point where I'm at, which is 273 pounds on the scale this morning. And I've been like around 270 to 280 for a long time, for like the last 2 or 3 years. 280 is kind of where it's topped out. And that's where it was at when I said, okay, I need to like really start making better diet choices, and it's starting to creep down already. So I'd like to get back down around 220. That's where I was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was really happy there. Like my body felt good, my health felt good, everything felt good. I can feel this extra weight on me now in ways that aren't horrible, but I can feel it in ways that I don't like as far as just my health and my body and how I feel. So that's the big motivation behind it. And another big motivation, honestly, was taking that photo of me in that suit coat and shirt. Like, when I saw that, I was like, dang, I look pretty good there. And then I was like, imagine how much better I'd look if I shed this weight that I've been trying to shed. So that's been motivating me to try to make better eating choices as well. Running is only if someone's chasing you. Yeah, the cardio that I do is the rowing machine. I can handle that. Like, I don't like running. My knees definitely don't like running. And it's gone now, but I don't want it back, plantar fasciitis. I had that flare up in my heel for a year. Oh my God, that was a horrible thing that I never want to happen again. I like riding my bike in real life. I don't like riding exercise bikes. So now that it's nicer out, I'm actually going to start riding my bike to work, which isn't a huge ride. It's like, maybe a mile away, but it's still riding my bike, to and from work. Maybe it's a mile, maybe it's 2 miles a day round trip, whatever it is, it's something. Okay, Elaine, thank you so much for joining. Get out there and take some damn photos. That is the spirit. I'm probably going to wrap this up pretty quick anyway, because I think I need to go and eat. Adding more greens to meals will help you drop weight. Cochise, you're absolutely right, and that's something that we've been doing more of lately. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those are 2 of my favorite greens to eat. So we're eating stuff like that now, more than we already were before. My wife says, after 14 years of dealing directly with people I don't want to and horrible management, it's way past time. Yeah, it is. Toodle pip till next time, subvids. All right, so yeah, I think on that note, I'll just go ahead and I'll wrap this show up. So thank you, everybody, as usual, for joining, hanging out with me on this Friday. It's been super fun. I love chatting with you guys. If you want to support the show, go check out my Patreon, or just support my videos or support anything. I got to type the link into the chat, so I'm going to do typey types right now. Support the streams and videos at my Patreon. I can't type patreon.com. I need to have all of this stuff managed better. Okay, anyway, if you want to support the streams, go check out my Patreon and consider becoming a patron. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, which is like nothing. That's way less than Adobe wants money from you, right? Yeah, Cochise, you agree. Your clothes in your mirror are the best way. I agree with that. Anyway, check out my Patreon if you want to support the shows and the videos. Any support is well appreciated. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to spend it and hang out with me. I hope you had fun. I certainly had a blast, even though I didn't really do any editing. We all know that that's a farce now. Make sure you have a wonderful and safe weekend, and make sure you guys get out there and take some damn photos. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye. You guys are awesome.